Hey everyone, welcome back to Court Farms. We are just enjoying a bit spot of breakfast, and I happened to find a nice toy on our bench, a desk, table. I think I did say, or may have said in one of the live streams, that if I do see collectibles, I will collect them. So let's give our dog some food, who has disappeared again. I think we need to come up with a name for the dog. I was thinking Houdini dog because he keeps disappearing. He was literally here 2 seconds ago. Well, I've given him some food. Should keep him going for the rest of the day. Or until later this afternoon at least. So yeah, we are now into October. I have been very, very busy doing some contract work just so we can keep things moving along. I think I made a bit of a boo-boo with the loan, and I was really worried that it was just going to be so difficult to actually make any progress with constantly just making sure we've got enough money to repay the loan. So I did several baling contracts, which we'll just check now. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 silage baling contracts I did last night, which took, I think, around about 3 hours. I did keep 2 grass bales from the contract unwrapped, and the reason for that is obviously we can now get some rabbits. Now they're fixed, and I believe they take grass and water. So they take 8 months to reach reproduction age, but their gestation period is only 1 month, so they will literally breed like rabbits. So for that fact, I'm just going to get 2 adult rabbits. I know you don't technically need a pair to breed, and then we'll just let them do their thing, and then we'll sell off some of the offspring in the future and hopefully make a little bit of money from those. So we will need to get a water tanker or some sort of water receptacle that we can use to top up their water. But first, what we need to do is head up to the BGA and then sell all of the crazy amount of excess silage bales we have from the contracts I did. And then we can actually complete those contracts and get the money from those. And then we can see what the what's in store for the rest of the day. Oh, the tents are back. That was weird. I'm sure I came past there earlier and all the tents had gone. Maybe they must have had some new arrivals. So yeah, we'll head up to the BGA and get these excess silage bales sold. Okay, so in total from the contracts I did, we got 144 bales. And I only needed to deliver 63, I think it was, to complete all of the contracts. So we had 81 bales left over. Obviously 79 of them have been wrapped. The other 2 are left as grass. So I don't know if that's a unusual amount of excess, whether it's this map or whether it's something else. So let me know if any of you have done any silage contracts and seem to have had a rather large amount of excess bales. So yeah, we've got 79 silage bales to sell, and I don't know actually what the capacity of the digester is on this BGA, so I don't know if they'll all fit in, but we can put them all in the trigger and then they'll be sold over the day. There's not quite enough capacity for all of them, if I can actually get the one off the fork. So that's 1,747 for 1 bale. So that's going to be, I think we've got 79. That's going to be well over 100,000 plus the actual money then we've got for the contracts. So yeah, this is going to be quite profitable. So I'll get all these sold, and then we can head over to the store, get a water tanker so we can give our new rabbits some water, and then we'll see what we've got next to do. Okay, so last 4 silage bales, and we can then complete those contracts. Although technically we can actually complete the contracts and collect the money, and the bales would not disappear. As we've actually bales from contracts don't disappear once you've baled. It's only loose material left on the field. There's one left to go, or that one that needs to drop down. So currently we've just gone over 203,000. I think we were on 66 when we started. So I don't know if this is just like an insane, crazy amount of excess. I know you generally, for silage bale contracts, you do tend to get quite a lot excess. I think on the Valley of the Old Farm episode I did recently, I'm pretty sure I got like an extra 60-70,000 just off the excess bales from the contract. Which I think the excess bales far more than what I actually got for the contract, which is going to be the same here. I think the problem I had with the Valley of the Old Farm trying to compare is I did the 1.8 bales, so I had far less bales in total than we've got here with the 1.5. So we can now complete all these. One of them I did borrow the equipment for, so yeah, that one. So we get a reduction of 642. So we'll collect that one, and that one, and that one. So we are now up to 271,425, and I feel much happier now. I was so worried about that loan system was just going to mess things up, and I was going to get to a point where it was like we could never buy any new equipment or really progress much because of that loan. So yeah, it definitely added to the challenge. And although we've now got quite a bit of money, we still need to make sure we make the most of that money, and because we've still got those loan payments, so we can't go spending it all. But we will get a little water trailer so we can give the rabbits some water, and I might pick up my weight as well if I can. I forgot that we'd left here. That would have been handy. I could have put that on the back of the JCB just when I was doing the 3 bales at a time, because they were just a little bit heavy. So let's just quickly check the used equipment sales while we're here, because there's always new stuff potentially popping up. Yeah, nothing new at the moment. So we need to get the little water trailer, which I'm not sure what category that will be under. Let's try animals. So I do have this one, which is the homemade liquid tank, which is 1,000 litres and relatively cheap. There is the AB, which is the base game one. And I think they're getting a little bit too expensive, so it's not in that category. So let's try trailers. Yeah, so I've got this one. Holds a bit more, so 3,600 litres. So if we do need to use water for sheep or pigs, it's got a little bit more space in it. Although, hey, can we not get rid of the liquid deposit logo, which is a bit naff? Don't think we can. Oh, that doesn't look good. Maybe we could just change the tank a different colour to the rest of it. Yeah, definitely not a shiny metal. That doesn't look very good at all. And maybe so a bit more of a matted colour. So yeah, I think the black, although yeah, I wish we could take that off because don't look like that. But that's 3,750. But we should be able to pull that as well with the Land Rover. So I'll get this hooked up. That looks tiny now compared to the tractor. It's going to be fun towing that back on the JCB. But yeah, we'll get this back to the yard. We can give the rabbits a bit of water. Give them some grass as well. Right, so we'll drop the little water trailer off and we'll use the Land Rover to fill that up, because it does look ridiculously small on the back of the JCB. Actually, what we'll do is we'll give the rabbits the bale of hay first, as we've got the front loader on. Which I think the feed trigger is inside this shed. I will just double check by putting the interactive zone markers on. It's been a while, yeah, and hopefully that will take this. I'm pretty sure from what a lot of people have been saying on Facebook that they do take just straight up grass, unless you're using Maize Plus. I think there's potential issue. Why is that not coming off? I've got a sticky bale. Doesn't want to come off. Now I'm stuck in the shed. Let's see. They're not going to take a lot from that if they do. No. Do they not take from bales then? Maybe that's... Maybe I need loose grass. Or I've got it slightly the wrong place. Right, yeah, so maybe we may need to shred that bale up. Oh no, it's showing their food's 3,000 litres now. Yeah, so it has taken the grass from the bale. Right, so yeah, they've got grass, so we just need to give them the water. Okay, so the water has been done. I had a bit of a problem getting this to work. It doesn't work on the Land Rover because it requires a hydraulic connection. So even with manual attached disabled, it would not overload. For some reason, this works as soon as you go into the trigger, it'll start automatically unloading. You don't have the prompt come up, so I couldn't figure out for a bit while it wasn't working. But yeah, I've got 1,500 litres of water in there now, so that is all done. So yeah, that trailer's not any use for us on the Land Rover. We can't use it the way it's set up. So I am probably just going to leave it inside here though, or get it in as far as I can with the Ford. Let's get that disconnected. So yeah, I may look for an alternative little water trailer that we can use instead. For now, I'll just drop that off there. So that's the rabbits, and we'll just take a quick look. Where are our two little rabbits? There they are. Hello, little buddies. Now you've got some feed and water. It's a shame you can't give them a bit of straw as well for some bedding. Oh, there you go. They've got everything they need for a while, and I'm not sure how long that feed's going to last. I did also put that water fill point in because that's free water, whereas the one by the slurry pit you actually pay for. So our next job for today is going to be harvesting our field of soybeans, which is now ready, and then we can get the soil sampling all done on all of our fields, and then I can see which fields are best for which crops, and then we can kind of decide on where we're gonna go from there. Also, I don't think I mentioned this in the last video, I changed the header trailer to the non-dolly one, which is a lot shorter. The header fits on here fine, but this should be a lot easier to get into some of the gates because you don't have the dolly and then the extra length on there. So hopefully this is going to help when we come to get into some fields for harvesting. So what I thought we'd do is we'll get the soybeans harvested and then we can do the soil sampling on the fields. I'm not sure whether we'll get the equipment to do it ourselves or we'll just pay to have someone come and do it for us. Let's get the PTO connected. You can get the combine unfolded. Get that started up and lowered down. And we can get our soybeans harvested. So looking at the yield data so far, that's actually not looking too bad. It's in the green compared to the other two fields, which are red and orange. So maybe we're not going to get as bad a yield as I thought we were off this one as well. So one of the other things I was thinking about with the soil sampling, I did mention about the grass fields. I wasn't going to actually soil sample the grass fields. I was going to leave them till next year before we come to then put any lime on that if they require it, and nitrogen. But I'm thinking I may do the soil sampling now because I don't know what soil types we've got, and it could be that the grass fields may be better as arable fields, and some of the arable fields we've got may be silty clay, which grass would be better in those fields. So we could potentially end up swapping a few fields around of what's grass and what's got crops in for next year. But that'll depend on the results of the soil sampling, which we'll do after this. Okay, so we are 97% full. I'll just finish filling up the Combine 200 and then we'll go and grab the JCB with the grain trailer. There we go. 9,500 litres. Yeah, don't think we're going to get much more off that, but the yield's not been too bad. It's been yellow-green for most parts. Now, I think we'll sell the soybeans straight off the field. Although we won't get the best price for them, it will give us that little bit of extra. There's not going to be a huge amount worth probably keeping until next year anyway, just for potentially what, a few £100 more. So we'll finish off the harvest, get it all into the trailer, and then we'll take it over to the place that's currently got the best price for soybeans. And there we go, that's all our harvesting done for this year. Unless we do a harvesting contract, we've got time over the next month. But for our fields, that's everything done. So I said we'll get the soybeans over to the sell point that's got the highest price currently, and we'll get those sold. And then we can work out what we're going to do with soil sampling, whether we're going to lease equipment or just pay for somebody to come and do it ourselves. Okay, so the best price for soybeans is at the farmer's market, which is where we're just heading to now. So we'll get these sold and then we'll head over to the store. I did cost up how much it would be to pay for somebody to soil sample all of our fields, and it's going to come to around about 19,250. So I think it's going to be a lot cheaper for us to just lease the soil sampler and then do the samples ourselves, and then the additional cost for actually sending those samples off is going to be far less than if we pay somebody to do it. And the current best price is 1,117, so we should get over 10,000 for the soybeans. So 12,931, that's not too bad. Obviously it's far from the highest price, but that 12,931 may cover the cost of the soil sampling and leasing the equipment to do that. Okay, so we're up at the store and we'll go lease the soil sampler. I do have the modded one, so we can get the one a slightly larger radius. I'm not going to go for the crazy one. There's one that like pretty much covers the entire map in one go. So we want miscellaneous, and we want the Isaria Scout 32.5. So it's got 32.5 meter radius, as opposed to, I'm not sure what the actual standard one is. So we'll lease this. I'm not going to bother changing colour. So it's 867 to lease. We're not going to go over an hour, so we shouldn't need to pay any extra fees for it. We should be finished well in an hour. So yeah, we'll get this back to the farm, then we can find out what soil types we've got in our fields. Okay, so it's time to start finding out what type of soil we've got in our field. I think we'll start with field 54. And then work our way around, finishing with 61. I'm sure many of you may have already done this yourself, so you know exactly what is in which field if you're playing with precision farming. But I have no idea what's in any of these fields, so it's going to be interesting to find out. So we'll get the Scout unfolded and into its operating position. And then we'll start taking our first soil samples. Okay, last soil sample for the first field. For some strange reason, every time I take a soil sample, it puts the Ford into reverse gear. Every time I go to drive off, it starts going backwards. I'm not sure why that is. We'll get that raised up. I'll go and get the other fields done, and then we'll send all the samples off in one go so we can see exactly how many samples there were and how much it costs to do all the fields. And then we'll wait for the results and then see what soil type we've got in each field, and then we can decide then if we're going to put grass in some of the other fields or keep them as they are, and come up with a plan for the crops for next year. Okay, so this should be the last soil sample we need to do. There we go, that should be all of our fields done. If we just take a look, you can see they're all there, that dark brownish colour. So soil samples are now sent to the laboratory. Laboratory. I think we'll get oh, accidentally just take another soil sample there. So yeah, we should get the results very, very shortly. I just need to speed up time just a little bit. Wait for those to come in while we head back to the farm. And there we go, 5,600 for the samples analysed. So yeah, that's with the leasing cost of this, that's a lot cheaper than it would have been to pay for somebody to come and do it. So it's well worth doing it ourselves. So let's have a look on the soil type. So actually, that's looking pretty good. So we've got only a tiny little bit of silty clay just down in field 58. And most of that field is loam. We've got a little bit of loam on 55 just there. So actually these, for grass fields, that's really good like soil. A bit loamy sand on these. So that one's majority loamy sand and sandy loam. And we've got a bit more loam on 54. And then 61 is also mostly loamy sand and a bit of sandy loam. So yeah, that's not too bad. It could have been a lot worse. So I think it was more a case of just probably no pH and nitrogen on the fields. So if we change that to pH levels, so even the pH levels aren't looking too bad. Let's just check the field we're currently in. The pH value is still showing as good, surprisingly. I thought that was going to be bad. So maybe it was a case there was just no nitrogen on these fields when we harvest them, and they had fully grown weeds in as well. We just check this one. Yeah, so pH value is showing okay on this one as well. Nitrogen's got 30 kilograms. So we definitely put a crop in this one that requires nitrogen, as there's still some nitrogen in the ground. For grass fields as well, pH levels are showing okay. Nitrogen obviously needs topping up on these. So we're not in as bad as a position I thought we may be. Which is all good. So I think we can afford to keep the grass as they are. There's no real need to change those at the moment. So yeah, we'll head back to the yard. I think most of our fields need ploughing. Or the arable fields do. Yeah, so 58, 61, 56 doesn't need ploughing. But those two do. So we've definitely got 2 fields to plough. I may still top up the pH levels. I don't know. If it's not something we desperately need to do, I think I may wait until we actually need to do it rather than spend the time doing it now. Because we're going to have to lease the equipment and buy the lime. So we might be in a better position financially next year to do that. So yeah, we'll hold off doing the lime spreading until it gets to a point where we desperately need to do it. But yeah, we will need to get those 2 fields ploughed. And then decide which crops we're going to put in which fields. Okay, so soil sampler has been returned and we are just on our way up to the store. So I have a plan for our fields now. I've been having a look through the crop rotation menu, seeing what crops have previously been in those fields. And trying to work out what's going to be best to put in. So I've decided we're going to put canola into the field that we harvested soybeans in earlier. So we're going to pick up a seed drill. I'm just going to double check again. No, nothing new at all. I think somebody needs to buy something before anything new will show up. So if we go to seeders, and I'm going to get the Cockling Jockey 600, which is a 6-meter direct drill. It doesn't fertilize, so we will need to do separate fertilization, which isn't a massive issue with precision farming. Sometimes that's a bit better anyway. You can use the crop sensors when you've got some growth to get a better nitrogen levels. So we'll purchase this. I'm going to keep it completely standard. So it's going to be 44,500. So we'll buy that. And then we're going to need, what's that, 2,800 litres. So 3 big bags of seed should be more than enough. So we want seed. We'll go with the Frontier certified seeds. So we'll get 3 of those, 3,000 litres. And we'll also get a big bag lifter while we're here for the front loader. Just go with the single. Then we can actually get the seeds into our new drill. So yeah, the crop rotation, the plan is we're going to do 1 field of barley, 1 field of oats, and the field of canola, which we'll sow now. They look like the best crops to follow the previous crops that we've harvested already. So the oats and the barley will go in the 2 fields that need ploughing. So we'll do that first and then we'll get those in. So that can be done either next month or in the spring. There's no immediate rush to do those, but I think for this, for canola at least, this is the last month we can sow canola before winter. So as we can put that canola into the field that had soybeans in, it doesn't require ploughing. Kind of makes sense to do that job now. That's one less job to do either in the spring or next month. So I'll get the drill filled up and we'll get back to the farm. And we can start getting our first crop sown in one of our fields. Okay, so we're down to the soybean field, or what was the soybean field. I'll try and work out now which is going to be the kind of best direction to do the up downs in. I think it may be to kind of, yeah, it's a bit of an odd shaped field. I think the longest kind of length is going in this direction. So if we set the announce, what's that, 45? No, that's taking me to 45. I might need to change my settings because I don't know if it'll snap to 70-degree angle. Okay, we should be okay now to set it to 70 is going to be, I think, closest. Yeah. I don't know if that's still going to be slightly off. 65 might be better. Let me just change this again. Oh, I accidentally paused it. We can set this to 65, which I think is going to be there. Now, I'm not sure in terms of spacing to the edge of the field how well that's going to turn out. So let's get this unfolded at least. And we'll see how that looks. Maybe 65 might be a bit too much. Maybe 60 might be a better angle to come at to do this. The main reason I'm trying to work this out is for doing the tram lines. So if we kind of set that that's going to be outer markings, and actually if I turn on the lane assistance or the lines, this will help. So what I'm going to do with the tram lines is we'll do 3 passes with the centre pass with the tram lines. So that will be lane 1, which is the one right. So we want to start doing the up down on the lane 3. If we bring that round into lane 3, yeah, that's switched on. So this row won't have tram lines, but this will be our first space, and then we'll work our way doing the centre of the field and then come in and fill in the headlands afterwards. So I'll get that enabled back on. I'll just get rid of those lines because we don't need them now. Get rid of the help menu. Get the drill turned on. Just make sure we are on canola. Yes. And get that load down. And then away we go. So we'll do this pass up. I'll skip a row, which will be the tramline row. And we'll come back in and fill in the tram lines in the centre afterwards. It's been a while. Last time I did the tram lines was on Calmsden, which has been a while ago. Can't remember exactly how I used to do it. Actually, we'll just go up. So we'll put tram lines in this next row. So get that locked onto that lane. Get that load down. And there we go. So the next row after this will be no tram lines. Then it'll be another one with no tram lines, then tram lines. So that'll give us 18 metre spacing on the tram lines. So when we come to do fertilising or spraying, if we use an 18 metre spread width for sprayer, that should work out perfect. I'll bring that to there, lift that up. We can then disable the tram lines with Control R. If you're not familiar with this, this is the Proceed mod. It does work in conjunction with the Wopster GPS mod as well, so you can set it to auto, so it'll automatically work out every third track or however you set it, and then automatically enable the tram lines. But I'm not using that GPS mod, so I'm doing it manually. I'll get that load back down again. So there's the first tram line going up the centre of our field. And then we'll just keep doing this, working our way across, putting the tram lines in. And then we'll do 3 passes of the headlands with the centre pass of those 3 with headlands enabled. Headlands enabled with tram lines enabled. Give us our headland tram lines. Okay, so the centre of the field has all been done on the headlands, so we've got the tram lines going round. Now I just need to connect them up. Trying to work out the best kind of way so you can do a circuit. So you do like one full lap around the headland and then do the up downs, or do the up downs and then do a full lap round to cover the field with fertiliser or herbicide. So to do this, I usually do at this point is turn the drill off but enable the tram lines. That way then you're not going to drill over the top of the previous tram lines, otherwise they'll just disappear. So if we kind of lower that down and start off the edge of the field, so we'll be coming into the field from this way, and then we'll join up with these tram lines, and then I'll just lift that so we're not redoing all of them and making them too wide. That'll kind of tram lines onto the actual circuit. And I always struggle to find out which is the best way to do this, so you can make it a circuit without having to go over too many different areas at the same time. And also with some of these, the shape of the field as well, some of the turns could be a bit too tight if you come at the wrong angle. So I think if we come round this way and then we'll go on to this little tram line here, so we'll lower that down and then try best as we can to join up with this. Back onto here. And then we'll just lift that again so we're not going too much, and I think we'll skip that one and then try and join up with this one. Oh, that's a bit of a tight turn. And then we can do it, come down this row, and then we'll probably have to come back on ourselves, so lower that down. Again, this might be a little bit too tight of a turn. With a sprayer just on the back or a spreader just directly on the back of the tractor, it's not going to be too bad. And then we'll come back up this one. Go back onto here. And then we'll go down onto... Yeah, we'll go down onto this one. And then we can come back up that last one and then straight off the field. Because these aren't going to be perfect. There is another mod you can use that's just directly attaches to the back of the tractor, which is actually like a tram line to break up tram lines and relieve the compaction of tram lines, but you can use it to put tram lines in as well. Now, I think that one's going to have to come right round onto this route. And then we can pretty much probably bring the tram line straight back off the exit of the field then. We'll lower that back down again. And we can just join that up with this track here. And then off the field. So that kind of gives us a circuit we can follow to spray the field, which we'll do next. With herbicide to prevent the weeds from growing. So we'll get this folded up. Oh, I've turned it on and folded up. I will disable the tram lines just so I don't forget next time we use it. Yeah, we'll head up to the store. We'll get a sprayer. I'm not going to use the spot spray function. That doesn't work if you pre-spray the field with herbicide. So if you go around it with a spot sprayer, it looks like it's working. So you'll see the change in the colour of the texture. But it's not actually preventing the weeds from growing. So next growth stage you'll still have the weeds and then you'll have to go around and remove them again. But I have found when I did it on the Valley of the Old Farm, if you use a spray without the spot spray function and spray directly after planting, you can do it as a preemptive spray and then prevent any weeds growing at all. Don't think it quite gives as good as a score bonus as spot spraying does, but it still works and it's a lot cheaper as well, as the spot spraying function is like what, 40,000 on a sprayer. So this will be save us a bit of money. So yeah, we'll head up to the store and get the sprayer, and then we can get that field sprayed with herbicide to prevent any weeds coming through. Okay, so down at the store again. So about the fourth time today. Our engine's switched off. Don't leave it running outside the store. So we need a sprayer that's at least 18 meters. 18 meters will be obviously fit our tram lines. So we go to sprayers. We don't need to worry about getting one with spot spraying just yet, but we could do that in the future. Sprayers. There we go. So I may just go with the cheapest option, which will be the Ixter B18 of Ireland. This one does have the ability to add spot spraying in the future as well. 18 meter, so 26,500. So we'll buy that. I don't think we'll ever need the front tank, or we may do if we use this for fertilizing in spring. But that's only an extra 4,500. So we won't need it for herbicide. Trying to think if we would need it for, or if we yeah, I don't know if to get that now or leave it till we'll leave it for now, because I'm pretty sure we won't need it just yet, but maybe when we come to do liquid fertilizer spraying, it will be a benefit to have that extra capacity. So we need some herbicide. I don't think there's much options other than the base game herbicide. I don't think there's any mods that actually do herbicide. So we'll just go with the standard one. And that's 2,000 litres, which is more than enough what we'll need. I'm also thinking while we're here, we'll get a set of pallet forks for the front loader. Let's see if there's any other ones available. Nope. We'll go with the... Yeah, we'll just go with the standard base game ones because I think they work reasonably well. So we'll get a set of those as well because that'll come in handy for moving the egg pallets around. Okay, so we'll drop the IBC off. We're not going to need that on the front of the tractor. We're driving around the field. I'm just going to put this there. There's another thing, we're going to have to find a good place to put the IBC's big bags. We're going to need to start getting some fertiliser, big bags and seed. More seed and some liquid fertiliser as well, possibly. Maybe even some lime in the future. So we'll try and find somewhere we can store those. And then we'll see how well these tram lines work and if I can remember which way we need to go. That's pretty obvious at the start, so if we come on to the tram lines. Get the sprayer unfolded. So we'll do the headland first and then we'll hopefully try and follow the track round so we can come off the field. Let's get that switched on. This is going to be one of those difficult because we haven't fertilised, we haven't got the darker sowing texture. So it's going to be actually difficult to see that this is doing anything, although it is. Okay, so that's the circuit almost complete. So until next month, we don't know exactly how well that'll work. Hopefully there's no misfits between the rows. So let's get that switched off. Get the spray folded up and I will just double check. So if we go into the corner here. So nitrogen's bad, obviously, which we know. pH is okay, which I think is the last state where it doesn't have too much of an impact on yield. So after the next harvest, that'll probably go to bad as well. Crop rotation's perfect, so we've got the 115% we've put in canola in this field. Expected yield at the moment is only 75% because we've got no nitrogen, so that'll increase. It's not actually showing weeds. Oh yeah, it's showing there. The upper box. So we've got weeds growing, weeder currently. But if we actually go a bit further, that disappears now where we've sprayed. So this corner, obviously, the sprayer didn't reach. So the rest of the field now is showing no weeds. And I think I mentioned this on Calmsden as well. I'm not sure because it's with the rolling. I'm not going to do any rolling on the fields this year, but I don't know if we was to go over this field now with the rollers, whether what it'd do to the tram lines, whether it'd get rid of them or whether they'd stay there. But technically the crop wouldn't grow, so it shouldn't really matter actually, because there's no crop actually planted. So I think we could still go over with the rollers now, get the rolling bonus, and then the tram lines will probably disappear at that point. But then when the first crop growth stage, you'll be able to see where the tram lines are again. I've never actually tried that, so it may be something to do in the future, but because rolling is only a small percentage increase, we will do it in the future, but I think at the moment it's not worth spending the money on the roller while we've still got that big loan and the loan payments to cover. So yeah, we'll leave it there for today. So we've got a soybean harvest done. We bought a couple of rabbits and get those fed and some water. And we've also then soil sampled all our fields so we know what soil types we've got. And then we sowed canola, and then we've just pre-sprayed the weeds, so to prevent those coming through. So what we'll also do actually, before we just check, see what the environmental score. I should have checked this before we did any work on that field. So yeah, we're up to 87 on that one now, considering we've got no nitrogen. But you can see all the bars. So if you bring that one up, you can see nitrogen's the top one. Actually, why is that showing? I don't know if that's in the same order, because we've soil sampled, and our soil sample on this one is showing max. I always assumed that those bars were the same, so it was nitrogen, nitrogen pH, soil sampling, weed control, and that's weed control. Maybe that will go up next. I'm surprised the nitrogen's showing as full. Yeah, I don't know. But we're up to 87 on that field now, compared to what, 50 on that one. 57, 55 and 57. So yeah, that's a big positive. So once we get the other fields done, we should get this overall environmental score up into the 80s at least. So currently we've got a 3% increase, so hopefully we can get that up a bit more and get it up to close to 10%. So yeah, we'll leave it there for today. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, then please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate that. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, then please do consider subscribing. We've got more Farm Simulator 22 content coming up with this series, the time-lapse series, and also the live streams as well. So we'll finish off just having a look at our rabbits, which one of them I think changed colour earlier. Yeah, we've got a brown one now. We had two that colour earlier. One of them's changed. I think it's every time you reload in the game, I think it just randomly picks the visuals. So yeah, big thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Goodbye.